Derrière les murs, aka Behind the Walls, although I wasn't actually able to find any English edition that labeled this as Behind the Walls, so I'm not sure if that edition was ever released on Blu-ray. This is a natively shot French movie from 2011 that was absolutely a pleasure to watch. Being set in the 20s, it occasionally felt like I was watching something from the 50s, golden age of 3D. Although I give high praise to modern conversions, there's still something special about a natively shot stereo movie. I'm not exactly sure what it is. Is it that no detail gets left behind? Every blade of grass, every wisp of smoke carelessly dances in the air, occasional glare creating a subtle twinkle effect. Or perhaps it's just that the perspective of the two eyes is slightly imperfect, and that just feels more real, more engaging. I don't know what it is. Every shot is careful to give us a nice diorama of the landscape we are in here. If they had to sacrifice detail to make any shot work, I was unaware of it. Occasionally, I noticed the main actor seemed a bit flat, which often can't be helped in real 3D. However, I noticed that seemed to only be the case if we had the actor filmed head-on. If they were positioned at even a slight angle, which was often the case here, it seemed to help bring out the detail, the stereo detail in the person and the scene. And angles are what make this movie enjoyable to watch in stereo. The director frequently finds an interesting place for the camera, such as this Hitchcock-style top-down point of view. I feel in 2D movies, I tend to take the cinematography for granted. It often goes over my head, but interesting photos make for interesting stereo. And this beautiful movie would work even if it were a series of still frames viewed through a Viewmaster. I really loved how they shot this movie. This stars the one-time swimsuit model, I believe it said Laetitia? Casta, who is surprisingly effective as a hard-drinking, cigar-smoking writer who seeks her solitude at an isolated country house. What could possibly go wrong? Absinthe poured over a sugar cube. Now, absinthe tastes like hell. Not recommended, though sugar does take the edge off any hard alcohol. Many premium labels achieve their smooth taste not by any particular blend, but by mixing in a bit of sugar. It apparently doesn't take much. Now, this movie is French. There are no English subtitles. There are German ones, but no English. So I watched it in French. And mon français terrible. But I managed to enjoy it. Despite my tenuous grasp of French, I believe I understood it well enough to enjoy it. There are aspects of the plot I had to guess at, but it seemed to be a fairly standard Alone in the Dark movie. And the alone part really helped with the language barrier. The effects of ghosts in the shadows are fairly universal. But are they ghosts? Or maybe just alcohol-induced hallucinations? Is she going mad like Jacques in The Shining? It's remarkable how the mystery of the source of her haunting is conveyed really only visually. Although large parts of this movie are in the shadows, it was never really black, but more of a night blue, contrasted by her sharp yellow lamp, creating this beautiful look that the stereo absolutely loved. Generally, 3D is afraid of the dark, but this kind of blue night look is perfect for stereo, but if overdone, can feel like a comic book, such as with the case in that Russian V movie I reviewed a couple of years ago. But here, I felt it blended in well enough to not draw any attention to itself. It just worked. One thing about those old oil lamps is you're not supposed to have it set high enough to create smoke, or you end up darkening the glass, and you also use up your oil quickly. In this movie, that lamp was smoking like a locomotive, but along with her frequent cigarettes, the smoke trails looked wonderful in stereo. The way it just hangs out in the air and makes these little circles is hypnotic. And along with that, the editing is rarely quick. Like the smoke, these shots tend to linger, and 3D likes it slow. And this long shots give the eyes plenty of time to soak in the details. Despite being a thriller, this slow style makes it a fairly tranquil watch and is probably best saved for an evening when you want something calm and relaxing. And this is a fantastic example of natively shot 3D done very well in a non-flashy and relaxed environment. If you don't mind the language barrier, I would highly recommend checking this one out.